If you guys want to go out there and play South Carolina and feel like you've actually accomplished something, that's fine. That's what makes you happy, and you feel like you've done something. But look, Frank's team sucks, and I don't care if you guys gave up 20 points. Who gives a shit? South Carolina. Nobody cares, Tony. Nobody here gives one shit about your defense. I got to go, man. Good luck. Hey, guys. Hey, man. What's up? It's JG. I am the publisher / Commodore of auburnsports.com and this show, which you may know as the Brain Drain or the Drain of the Brain or Brain de Drain if you're French. I'm coming to you live from Montgomery, Alabama, where I live and where I eat and where I drink and where I do this show. It's awesome to see you guys. I do want to give some love and some shout-outs to, first of all, we got our merry band of crazy people here with us, including a lot of psycho beasts. I want to give a special shout-out to Canoe Man and Pocket Watch for lots of things, but always being so supportive of what we do here on the show, on the Brain Drain, on the Bunker. Good dudes, don't talk any stupid stuff, and just great members of the community. I love you guys. Also, you super chatted, which makes you even more awesome, but anyway. We got Chip in the house, Cleveland Brown in the house, Daniel P asking some questions earlier, Stephen L. Boy, we got some Randy P. I haven't seen you in a minute, bro. Glad to have you though. Man, what a group here. Sam H in the house, of course. AU Storm 20. AU Storm 20 says last show till football. Oh no, bro. Hell no. No. This might be the last basketball show, which for me and you kind of sucks, but for other people it doesn't. We're going to be doing shows all the way, bro. We're going to be doing football shows for spring football leading up to A-Day, just kind of talking about what's been going on. I'm going to be able to have Brian on here and Christian on here. And we'll be doing I think we're going to be doing like a diamond wrap on Sundays to wrap up what happened with baseball and softball. I know some people are not into that. We'll make it so it's easily digestible on the YouTubes, but we'll also be doing summer shows as well. You guys love summer shows. Pocket Watch loves summer shows. We got Stan in the house. What up? Ethan S. Don't recognize you, but I'm glad to have you, bro. Paul S. has been making lots of cool sounds. We were doing bong, 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 bong earlier. Bonch, bonch, bonch. I don't know what that means, but it's funny. Let's see. Daniel P. wants to know what I'm drinking. Today I'm going to be drinking this McKenna 10-year. This is a product of the Heaven Hills. You may know them as Heaven Hill. It's in Bardstown, Kentucky. Nelson County, Kentucky. And I don't know, about maybe, we'll call it 2 miles off the BG Parkway there. Blake R. in the house with that natty suit. Oh, man, unbelievable. Says, War Eagle, winner, chicken dinner, JGT and the hizzy. Glad to have you, bro. Let's go to our main page here so we can get all sorted and suited up. We've got the final tally there on the left. Auburn finishes 13-14 to clinch. Oh, my gosh, I got the score wrong up here. My bad. Hold on. I knew there was something I was forgetting. I got it right here. No problem. That victory right there clinches Bruce Pearl's 600th career dub. How about that, huh? Starting at SIE, and then, golly, where else? That's freaking me out. I started thinking about Evansville because I bought my car in Indianapolis, and the people there were like, oh, I remember when Bruce was in Evansville. And I was like, really? Cool. He was also at, what was it, Cleveland State? No, Milwaukee, UW Milwaukee. Then obviously Tennessee and now Auburn. So big time. Canoe Man says McKenna 10-year is fantastic. It is muy delicioso. We got a super chat coming through from a man, Corey Dub. Had a chance to dine with Corey Dub and his lovely lass, whose name I will redact. I will just refer to her as Miss CW. Had a great time with you guys. Drinking a little bit. I had a few whiskeys. And Corey Dub was drinking that Corona. I need to get this thing off of here. I know what bourbon it is. I don't need a little tag on it. Anyway, Corey, you're the man, dude. I said I would give you a funny soundbite, so I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, on Monday, I will make it on Monday because I have some cars on Monday.
I don't know what he's saying either, man. It's part of the love of that's the great part of Beetlejuice. I wonder why our chat's not populating here in the middle. It better start doing it real damn soon. I'm going to get upset. Anyway, those of us who are on, there we go, fired up. Thank you, Corey. You're the man. Also, J-Dub jumping in. My main man. Says drink up JG, J-Dub, bud. You know that I need a drinking partner here, bro. So hopefully we're going to be able to get together soon. Drink a little bit of this McKenna. You bought me a bottle of McKenna once upon a time, and I drank it pretty damn fast. This one I'm sipping on a little bit more because I'll miss it if it's gone. I already learned that. Ethan says, so we clinched a playoff spot. I don't know what that means. I really don't. Let's see, Jesse. I'm glad to see you guys are like being level-headed about this situation, right? Because 13-14, I think if we talked about that in November, you guys have been like, JG, what's your problem, bro? They're going to be better than that. I thought they would have been better than that, honestly. But they had a rough stretch. They lost JP. They lost Sharif. Didn't have Sharif for half the year. Now they've lost him for, 2 or 3 games here late. Just had a lot of critical personnel losses, and that happens sometimes. Jesse says this basketball team showed a lot of heart this year, in my opinion. I think we agree with that. Love the effort and attitude. Yeah. No, attitude definitely was good. The effort sometimes I thought lagged, but maybe not. I don't know. Just very young. BP is the man. Can't wait for next year, boys. Just next year, assuming everything gets sorted out at point guard, right? They should be pretty good. I mean, I don't want to sit here. Everybody's, on the bunker. It's like Natty, SEC title, slam dunk. We got this. And it's like, hold on. I mean, we got a long way to go. I'm not going to make any predictions until I know who the point guard is, who the point guard's going to be, and then who the backup point guard's going to be, and then maybe even the third backup point guard or the second backup, whatever, the third point guard. Speaking of point guard, your boy, Jamal Johnson, statistically didn't have his best game, but I thought his ability to play point guard the whole way, 38 minutes out of a possible 40 for him today. And he, again, we've talked about this, when he's able to play point, that clears the way for Al Flanigan to be Al Flanigan and to play wing and to do the things that Al Flanigan likes to do that he's good at. And guess what happened? Jamal sat in there. He doesn't want to be a point guard, but he said, hell with it. I'll do it. And Al Flanigan had a great game. Jalen had a great game, too. Al finishes with 22 points on 7 of 13 shooting, 3 of 7 from 3, 5 of 6 from the line. Also had a thunderous dunk. Actually, I think I have that video. I can probably pull that up for you guys. Yeah, watch this. This is a gnarly little dunk right here. This is gnarly. Uh-oh. He's cutting. He's going up. Don't even try. Don't even think about it. That was a business decision down there in the post on the defensive end there. It was like, no, I'm good. Great pressure pass also from Jamal there out of the trap. Nice little cutback. Dude, Al Flanigan's a good player. I don't care what anybody says. The bunker, some people in the bunker want to say he's trash, but he's definitely not. So I thought Jamal was awesome today, but, statistically, Al was the MVP, no doubt about that. But he and Jalen are going to get a lot of the love. Jalen goes 18 points on 7 of 14 shooting. I thought he had the kind of game that you want to see from Jalen. He's kind of got that mid-range game, takes that little left hand and just kind of pops them. Had a few threes, goes 1 of 5. No, didn't have a few. He had 1. Hit 1 of 5 from 3. I thought there were more than that. 3 or 4 from the line, 5 boards. 1 assist, 1 turnover. No, 1 assist, 0 turnovers, 1 block. 29 minutes on the floor. I thought JT had an engaged game. I thought he was paying attention to what he was doing, understood his role. Had a really gnarly-ass dunk. That was in the first half, wasn't it? Took like hell, I got the video. Why am I sitting here trying to tell you guys what happened when I had the daggone video? JG, what are you doing? This is Thor doing his thing right here. Look at this. You're gone, son. There's another business decision in the post. Watch this. Nah, I'm good. Happy flight. JT, man, I'm telling you, the guy has got some serious ability. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. He mentally kind of, sometimes it's like he kind of wonders what his role is. But, wow, he's got a lot of ability. We got a super chat coming through from Stu Pup. The streak lives. My main man, Stu Pup, has chatted every single show I've ever done, I think. Every show that I can remember. Going all the way back to the first football season when we were doing this. Says, glad that you got that dub today, baby. That's a pretty big win, I think. to just be able to finish it, finish it with a dub. Mississippi State's, they're a good team. They're not awesome. I think they're going to end up finishing, a couple games ahead of Auburn. But nonetheless, Blake R. with that natty outfit. Look at that. That guy's an absolute badass to be able to wear that out in public. I'm assuming you did. It says, my contributions for today, I got a pick of my suit that is blue. That is like the white one in my pick. I can change my pick to it for next time. I like the white better than the blue, but I'd be willing to take a look at it, a little ganderage. The hat really is the perfect accoutrement, I think, to that. If you didn't have the hat, I don't know as though it would be as awesome as it is. But, you're awesome anyway, so it's all good. Speaking of awesome, your boy, so I mentioned earlier, we're talking about basketball, by the way, but your boy, Corey C-Dub, I was super chatted earlier because he's badass. Went out to eat with him and Mrs. C-Web. Had a few, got a little bit loaded. We're going to go home, and then we decided we were going to take we swerved it there at the end and went to the tipping point here out where I live in Montgomery. And ran into my man Chapel. If you know Chapel, if you guys live in Montgomery, he's real tall. And he's chilling with some ladies, as he often is. And I engaged with Chapel because I hadn't seen him in a while. And one of the gals with him says, "Hey, you're JG Tate." And I said, "Indeed I am." And she says, "I listen to G-Pits." Just some random chick who's hanging out with Chapel. And she's an Ole Miss girl living in Montgomery. And that was pretty cool. You don't necessarily think that. G-Pits, of course, is the show I do with Gabe DeArmond from the Missouri site and Neil McCready from the Ole Miss side. And we just kind of talk about random stuff most of the time. We talk about sports some, but it's just generally random stuff. Anyway, that was pretty cool. And it was awesome to see Corey. And I'm kind of lamping about hanging out with Corey, too. Drunken Poet says, roll that tape. I did, for reals. Travis J., what up, man? Hadn't seen you in a minute. Glad to have you here, bro. You were big time, during all football season. I remember that for sure. How does JT Thor's role change with Jabari next season? Great question. So for me, it seemed like JT was mostly playing center this year. He was kind of like their de facto center. And so to me, Jabari is a 4. He's like a stretch, like a very quick twitch 4. So I don't think JT gets affected too much. The question really is what happens to Jalen. I don't know where Jalen goes because Jalen to me is not a center. Jalen is not going to be as good as Jabari. And then when you're talking about wing, I think Al's a really good wing. I think Jamal can play there if he has to. I think Trey Alexander, who's coming in, the young man who signed with Auburn from Oklahoma City, he's kind of a 2-3. He can play some wing too. And then JP's probably not a wing traditionally, but he is 6'6", and he's an outside presence. I start to wonder a little bit about where Jalen fits in. So that's my question. I think JT's fine. I think he plays 5 or what they're going to call 5. He's going to be like a Wayne Chisholm 5. And he's just going to ball it up, man. I think he's awesome. Give him a year with DD, with Damon in the weight room at about, 15, 20 pounds to his frame without sacrificing anything in terms of explosiveness. And I think you're going to see a better version of JT next year. I think he's terrific. I've been very happy to see that the bunker does not give him a lot of hell. It seems like everybody, including C-Web, likes to get on Stretch, and Stretch has not been awesome. I no one's arguing that, but JT certainly had his moments where you're kind of wondering, is he really that good? But he is, man. He is. Super, super quick twitch. Captain, obviously smarter than you, says, JG, say my name or you're an undercover Alabama fan. What? No way, man. Actually, I'm going to change this scene because I'm tired of, I don't like this red. The red kind of bothers me. So I'm going to switch over here for just a second. Hey, I'm JG. And we'll go back here and it'll reset the color of this chat box instead of red anymore, just to make sure no one has any questions about why we have red on there. Pocket Watch says that's awesome. Of course, meeting that gal who was with Chapel. Sam H says he loves G-Pits. Navin says get Brew Musiu, that dude from the bunker. That guy's insane, man. That guy's lost his absolute mind. I don't know. He keeps posting about himself in the bunker, and it's really annoying. He thinks it's clever. Nope. It's red again. Dadgummit. Canoeman says, speaking of G-Pits, do we return to live YouTube shows this week? Great question. It's certainly possible. Here's the problem, bro. Just getting technical with you. I know I can do that show with 2 people and have it sound great. I haven't done it with 3 people yet, and I haven't been able to test it. It's I can get Christian on the line anytime I want, and I can get Brian, but I haven't been able to get them all 3 together. And I don't like getting people on the line to be like, hey guys, I need you on the line to talk for 10 minutes, and we're not doing a show. I just got to test everything. Oh, anyway, Travis says nice to be back on the brain. I'm calling it now. AU SEC champs. I'm assuming you mean basketball next season, not the fighting Brian Hartsons to win the football championship, although it certainly could happen depending on what happens in the transfer portal, but there's a lot of work to be done on that end. So there are a couple other things I wanted to take a look at. I had, here's one. This is one I built here late. So this is, we're thinking about this team now that all the data's in for this season, and you can see these are from Synergy Sports. It's a company that does very deep analytical dives, a lot of deep analytical data about all the teams in college basketball, including our Auburn Tigers. And the data you can see there at the bottom is this year's team. So those are the different kinds of play types that you would run on offense. Obviously with BP, a lot of spot-up shooting, a lot of transition. That's always going to be in this team's DNA. And the reason I put the 2019 team up there on the top is, obviously that's the best Auburn team that's ever existed, Final Four team. And you can see where they're very good. They rate as good spot-up shooting, then excellent transition, excellent pick-and-roll ball handler, excellent ISO. Then you come down here to 2021. Spot-up shooting is fine. Transition, not so good. A lot of that's because the situation at point guard was never really settled. It was a settle when Sharif was in there, and they were making progress on that, but then he got hurt. And then pick-and-roll ball handler, average instead of excellent as they were 2-3 years ago. Again, point guard issue. Cutters went from very good in 2019 to not good. Below average. Anyway, this kind of data really intrigues me. And I was actually looking up, Auburn's going to finish this season having run 14% of its defensive possessions in zone. And in 2017, which is a few years ago now, but I was just making this point, Auburn ran 0% defensive possessions in zone. So that's something that Chad Pruitt has brought in. He was kind of a zone fiend when he was a head coach in the high school ranks, and he loved zone. And he felt like there were, as recruiting got better, this is, in the early days of Bruce's tenure, when they were recruiting progressively more athletic and better players, they thought it was time to kind of add a zone, because if you've got those kinds of long, quick dudes, you would be wise to have zone some. And so Chad installed that stuff, and now it's become, I'm not going to say Auburn is known for its zone defense. It's not, but it's more than just kind of a, hey, we'll play this a couple times a year. It's something that's kind of in Auburn's DNA. Auburn probably had 6, 7, 8, 9 possessions today in zone. So, yeah. He got hurt. He got hurt. I know Kanuman, that's like your avatar on the bunker. I love it. It was one of my all-time favorite Gus moments. It was at Arkansas. It was that year that Anthony Swain got sniped in the knee. He just kind of fell over in the end zone. And the ESPN sideline reporter was like, Coach, what happened to Anthony Swain out there? And he goes, he got hurt. Warwick says he's reporting live from Hooters. If so, big time. I have every reason to believe you're telling me the truth, though, Warwick, because you're a very trustworthy person. Let's see. What have I missed? War Report in the house. It's Mike G. It says, JG, what are the stipulations of our postseason ban? Can we still play in the SEC tournament? Nope. This is the end of the road right here, buddy. This game right here was the end of the road for this season, and the SEC tournament is considered postseason. So that's that. Meanwhile, Mac McClung plays on with his Texas Tech Red Raiders. Let's see. Michael Pisa, speaking of next year, how does Lior Berman fit in? Interesting. I hadn't really put a lot of thought into what happens with him. Lior obviously is a walk-on that actually played a good number of minutes for Auburn this year. Let's see. Let's go to the KenPom and see how many minutes he ended up playing this year. Oh, they do it by percentage. He played in 2.7% of minutes. But he played in the last 5 games consecutively, and he got 1 minute today. He got one little short shift. I just don't. Yeah, he may be your brother or something. I don't know. I mean, walk-ons are really important. They play a very important role for team development. There's no doubt about it. And they are appreciated more now under Bruce Pearl than they've ever been. But, yeah. Let's see. Carrie says, congrats to BP on his 600th win. Can't wait till next year with a national title contending roster. We'll see, man. I mean, the roster's going to be good. You just got to make sure it all works together, because this roster is not bad at all. And I think when you just look at the roster that they have right now, they underperformed a little bit. But when you think about that, it's JP because Sharif wasn't ready to go, and then as soon as JP gets hurt, Sharif's ready to go, and they never play together, and it's just kind of a year of just kind of fluky situations at point guard. Let's see. Corey says, wish I could be more interactive. Mrs. C Webb has me out front washing cars. Got you blasting on the Bluetooth speaker, JG. What's going on? No. The hood needs to know about the drain. I don't know about that hood, bro. Probably a lot of Bammers in that hood. But I'm glad you're out there representing, brother. Be Easy AU says, there's no doubt. Obs117 says, shout out to the War Rapport. You guys know how I feel about the War Rapport. Good peeps. Good show they do. Blake says we got, using the Gus voice, we got a solid group of guys coming back. Oh, there's no doubt. And, JT, he's a guy that he plays real hard. And Jalen, he's a guy that, he plays real hard. And, it's just real credible. We're credible guys, solid. We're a solid team. Got a solid roster. I was talking with somebody the other day about Gus, and that it was somebody who's not into sports, and they were like, why did they fire Gus? That didn't make any sense to me. And I was like, well, it made a lot of sense to me. They were like, what? What happened? Did he get in trouble? I said, no, but they were sucking really bad, and he said on the radio that they were solid, and everybody laughed. And it's just hard to take that back. He kind of walked it back the next day, but I think the damage was done. I think everybody was watching this team. I'm talking about football here for a second. Everybody's watching that team going, this team should be better than this, right? Especially after the South Carolina loss. And then they started getting knocked around a little bit late. And then he's like, man, it's going to be a solid season. And literally nobody thinks it's a solid season. And then all of a sudden that disconnect you just knew, you know what I mean? Like I was like, he can't put this to bed. Like you don't come back from that. I don't know. Let's see. Warhorse is still holding out hope that Cooper will come back when we're not in NCAA jail. Technically, Auburn's not in NCAA jail right now, which is the interesting thing. Auburn's in self-imposed jail. They're trying to avoid NCAA jail. And I have every reason to believe that they will not be in NCAA jail for postseason or anything like that. I do think, if you want my opinion, I think BP is going to get suspended. We'll have to sit out some games next year. And I would not be surprised to see them cut, let's call it 2 or 3 scholarships. Not right away. They're just going to have to forfeit, let's say, 3 scholarships, 1 each year for 3 years or something like that. I just think that. BE's AU is with me on this. He says the solid season comment was the dagger. You think about all the stupid shit that coaches have said in their lives, just like dumb stuff that got him in trouble. And Gus is not one to ever do that. Like Gus is not someone, he's not going to say something stupid. That's such an interesting thing to say, though, to say it was solid. I mean, somebody who's like a Cal fan would be like, who gives a shit? He didn't say a bad word. He wasn't praising something he should have been praising or whatever. It's just that, like, everybody's on edge at that point going, you know what? I don't think Gus can ever get Auburn out of this rut. And all of a sudden he's like, like when he says solid, it's just like he's saying what rut? We're right there, guys. We're right there after we lose by 5,000 to Alabama. It's fine. We're just going to beat Mississippi State here and everything's Gucci. And then when Auburn beats Mississippi State, we're going to break out champagne bottles and act like it's, December 31st, 1999, and we're throwing down at the new era. Not worried about Y2K. You know what I mean? Anyway. Let's see. Canoe Man says, I reported on the drain and the Commodore melted down appropriately. One of the classic moments in a rich history of the drain. Yes, I remember that because we were on the air when it was going on. We were doing this. You were listening to the post game, which I was very glad to have you as our reporter, Canoe Man. At which point you relayed that to me, and I lost my shit for like 20 minutes. And we had to get BMAT on here to kind of set me straight. But the truth was that Brian was like, yeah, that's pretty much what he said. And I was like, no way. Still can't believe that. Just weird. My main man, Mike G, in the house. Appreciate you, brother. He says, what's the name of that bourbon we talked about? Making a liquor run later, and I'm trying to get my weight up. Okay. So Mike G was asking about some bourbons that are good and are gettable, you know? So people like me, we're idiots, and we chase bourbons that we can't get. But for folks that aren't consumed with dumb shit like that, bourbons that I think are gettable, that are delicious. Okay, so for me, that would be Four Roses single barrel. I don't have it here, but it's kind of got a round bottom but a square top. You can find that a lot of days, depending on where you are, Mike G. Like at my house, you're probably not going to find that, but in a lot of other places you would. I think that's a delicious bourbon that you can find pretty much all the time. Russell's Reserve 10-year, which is, I'm trying to think, it has like a maroon, or does it have the white one? Come on, you guys. I can't remember. I get mixed up a little bit. It's similar shape to this. It's like rounded. Russell's Reserve. It'll be either maroon color or white color. It'll say 10-year on it. That you can definitely find is delicious. Honestly, if you can find that Old Soul single barrel pick, it's going to say Old Soul on it. It's going to have like a blue outline to it, and it'll say like single barrel. Is really good. And ABC, I think those are 55. Those are really good. Come on, guys. What else? I have no problems with the Evan Williams single barrel. If you want to go inexpensive, that's probably going to be $20 to $25. Probably going to be on the bottom shelf, but it's pretty damn good. Honestly, it's got a black label on it. Old Tub is good if you're going real low. Sometimes you can find Old Tub under 20. It tends to float up a little bit higher now, 22, 23, but that's a pretty good bourbon for what it is. So there's a lot of good suggestions there. Canoe Man says, just when I thought I could not like Mike G more, I find out he's hunting bourbon. 78 Swilly says, War Damn. Glad to have you, Swilly. Swiley. Whatever. Ob117 says Blanton's. Yeah, if you can find it. If you walk into your liquor store, Mike G, and they've got Blanton's, buy that bad boy. If it's under, let's say, $75, buy it. Buy it and enjoy it. It's delicious. Canoe Man corrects me or affirms my earlier statement that the Russell's Reserve 10-year is going to have a maroon label on it. And Chippin says Wild Turkey Rare Breed. I absolutely agree. That's a good one, too. And you can find that most everywhere. The joke on Ob117 was that Blanton's is very difficult to find. It's very difficult to find. We were working on an Eagle Rare, Canoe Man says. Eagle Rare retail price here in Alabama is $32, $33. Very difficult to find, especially if it's not an allocation day or whatever. But it's delicious. I think our friends in Atlanta or in the surrounding areas find that more often than we do over here in Alabama. Be easy AU's kind of going back through Gus saying something like 0-12 against Georgia, Bammers and Corn Dogs on the road. Yeah, he had a very difficult time winning on the road against them, right? Well, there's no doubt. I mean, it's a tough place to play. You don't go on to Baton Rouge. Speaking of this, Blake Robinson says that Evan Williams single barrel is dangerous because it's so good and so smooth that it'll have you toasted in a short time because you'll drink more than you realize. So check this out. At my local bar, I don't know if you guys, a lot of you guys aren't in Montgomery, but the ones that are, my local bar, The Tipping Point, we've been working with Justin, who runs the shop over there, on a drink. We were calling it the Brain Drain, obviously, in honor of this show and all the badass people that are part of this show, many of whom are on this show right now, are chatting. So we made the Brain Drain, and the Brain Drain drink, which you can order there. You probably have to ask Justin for it because I don't know. It's not on the menu yet officially. There's some things about it that I realize if you guys are G-Pits listeners, you're gonna say, JG, you're being disingenuous. It is served in a girly glass. I don't have one here because I'm not a girl, but It's like those glasses that look kind of like a really small margarita glass. And it's kind of citrusy, which is not something that I normally do. But here's the deal, man. If we're making our own drink in a bar, it can't just be a shot of like, Four Roses. That's not a drink. That's a shot of Four Roses. So we had to make a drink. And so it's kind of citrusy. It's got, I know it's got lemon in it, like muddled lemon. But here's the thing. And the reason I brought it up after what Blake was saying, it's got 2 ounces of Buffalo Trace in it to start with. So what happens is your boy comes in and I start drinking those. And I don't even realize there's much alcohol in it. It doesn't taste really hot at all. It'll sneak up on you. So if you go to a Tipping Point, you drink a Brain Drain, just be careful. Just drink it. And if you're laying that out for your girl, be careful because you'll lose her real quick. You know what I mean? You don't want your girl so lit that she's not, you know what I mean? My girl's a seasoned drinker and she can't take more than 2 of those. Let's see. Corey Deb says, instead of development shots, should we take shots each time Stretch misses a dunk? Stretch has been known to miss dunks. He missed one today, in fact. He may have missed 2. I know he was 1 for 1, and then I was doing some other stuff. Hope I didn't miss any. Let's see. Drunken Poet says 2 bottles of Eagle Rare are greater than 1 bottle of Blanton's. That's a tough one, man. Because I love me some. I love all of that stuff. It's all made by the same distiller. 2 bottles of Eagle Rare greater than 1 bottle of Blanton's. I'd probably do that trade. I would be willing to sacrifice a bottle of Blanton's for 2 Eagle Rares. I would. Let's see. Corey Dub says, can I go to Tipping Point tonight and order the Brain Drain? And Sam asks an ancillary question, which says, is it like a secret menu drink? So it's not really secret. They were just, Justin and me, administrative assistant, and Justin were kind of developing it together. Justin was really doing it, but we were kind of giving him some feedback. And he's made probably 6 or 7 of them. Like if it was him, he would know what you were talking about and he'd make it. Justin's like a big dude, bald-headed. I mean, he's probably 6'3", bald-headed, and he's like runs the show. I don't think he works on Saturdays. So if you go tonight, Corey and or Sam, you would need to talk to Laura. So Laura's the bartender who has kind of like she usually wears her hair in a ponytail, blonde-haired, probably about 5'6", 5'5". She's young. She knows about it. So, yeah. The goal all along was to get it on the menu so that when you go to Tipping Point and you get yourself a menu, it says Brain Drain. They have new owners there as of a few days ago, and I'm not real tight with him yet. I don't know as though anybody is, and I got to kind of work him. I got to work him. Got to get it on there. Let's see. Michael P. says, speaking of next year, love the Browns gift, by the way. How does Camo fit in? He's definitely a tweener. Okay, you got it. I'm sorry, man. I'm having a brain freeze. Who's Camo? I'm just missing it. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's somebody very obvious to me. My bad. I drink a little bit more of this Henry McKenna 10-year. This is good stuff right here. If you could find this is good too. This shouldn't be hard to find, but it is. I mean, in certain areas of the country, this is very easy to find, like Kentucky. Although my friends in Kentucky can't find Blanton's to save their lives. It's been years. Who's Camo? Who is Camo? I should know this. Be Easy says Stretch just gets really excited. I mean, he is a sophomore, and in Corey's defense, and I've been tough on Corey because Corey's been really, really tough on Stretch, and I just keep thinking to myself, Stretch is an 8th or 9th guy. He's like a Horace, and, just leave him alone. Let him play his, 10 minutes a game and get some rebounds and harass people, Blake says, if I'm ever in Montgomery, I'll have to go get me a Brain Drain. Well, guess what, buddy? We're going to be having a tasting over there, well, tentatively, in April or May. We'll have an official auburnsports.com bourbon tasting over there. And at that point, that might be a good time for you to come on down and get you one, buddy. Cootie Man says, if they get it on the menu, I will intentionally take the long way through MGM so I can stop there and get a drain. We would love to have you, Canoe Man. I know that for sure. Oh, wow. Canoe Man says it was Bourbon of the Year a few years ago. Oh, there's no doubt. Something else I wanted to show you guys. This is not news to many of you who read the bunker all the time, but someone on the internet, one of these analytical people, had noted that Jalen Williams was the most deadly shooter in the country from that one particular corner, the right corner, depending on how you're looking at it, I guess, but over there on the left side of your screen. He is the hottest shooter in the country, the most accurate shooter in the country from that particular spot on the floor. And I just thought I would show you his actual shot chart for the entire year. Red, the bigger the, what is that, a polygon? Means the better he is from there. And actually, the size of the polygon means that's how often he shoots from there. And then the color tells you how accurate he is from there. It's so interesting to me that he's so good in this one side, and then he goes to the other side, and he's terrible. It's just weird. I don't know. You think about Scotty P back in the day, Scotty P corner pocket. It seems like he could hit both. I don't know. Of course, Jalen's left-handed, where Scotty P was right-handed. And Scotty P, of course, was the silent assassin. I don't know as though Jalen is. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Navin says camo means Chris Moore, probably. All right. Hayden Harris in the house. Hey, glad to have you back, Hayden. Welcome back to the show, bro. Glad to have you. Sorry, my finger was missing last time. Talking to you, buddy. Chris Moore. What an interesting player. He got throated today. Somebody got him in a throat. I thought he was I didn't know what was going on initially. I was worried about him. And then, it was okay 20 seconds later. But let's see what Chris Moore did this year. I mean, he's sneaky, right? He's sneaky because he doesn't necessarily play all the time. He plays pretty much every game, but, some games he plays 12 or 13 minutes, and some games he plays 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and pull up his player card here. I will put away Jalen Williams, who is a deadly shooter from that one corner. Here's Chris Moore's numbers for the year. This is as of today, as of 10 minutes ago. This doesn't show points per game. It's more about, his percentages and stuff. 58% from the line's not very good, but again, small sample size. 2.636 is incredible. That's if he sustained that over a season, he'd be one of the leaders in the country. 6 of 15 from 3 is actually tremendous for a guy who plays like he does, who does the things that he does, but again, small sample size. You see he's getting 13.5 of the possessions when he's on the floor, which is low. 25% of minutes, which is low. Offensive rating 109.4 is actually really good. Again, I got to keep saying this. Sample size matters. But look at this dude. You see the similarity scores. These are players in college basketball through the last 15 years that are similar to him in terms of statistical profile. And this dude right here named Ish Wainwright. What a great name. I wish my name was Ish. Ish. Yo, Ish. What up, bro? Roger Mute Bidias. These are great names. I think Chris Moore got screwed. He could have had a great name like Roger Mute Abidias or Ish Wainwright. But instead he's Chris Moore. Dude, I know the feeling. You guys have all these awesome names, and my name's Jay Tate. Everybody in high school always call me Jay Tate. Hey, Jay Tate. Jay Tate. My name's Jay. Chris Moore definitely stays. I think he's terrific. I think he probably continues the role that he has right now. I look at him as like a 7th, 8th man. And I don't see any reason to think he would step up and be like a starter next year because, I guess the question is, what is he? Like, what is he? I think of him as like a 4 and a 3's body, right? I got he's kind of a stocky build. Yeah, he hasn't really shown me that he's like a crazy good rebounder at this point. He's not soft or anything. He just doesn't seem like he's a crazy rebounder. He does have some refined scoring ability. He has a nice shot. Maybe we just haven't seen enough of him yet. He's definitely an interesting talent, though, for sure. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Skype line. I'm sorry. I'd forgotten to do that. So if you guys want to call in, I know A-Storm20 was on earlier. Who's been an outstanding caller for us almost all season long. And we haven't heard from Auburn alumni lately. We love him, of course, and anyone else. Let's see. Horace from 3, who obviously is, he would certainly know what he's talking about when it comes to Horace, says Horace was a better defender his sophomore year. Stretch is hard to watch on both ends. Yeah. I mean, I like Stretch a lot, but I got to be real about it. I know, not that you guys don't like him. I know all you guys wish he was an All-American too. I know. But he is what he is. Canoe Man says the silent assassin. Talk about Scotty P, my main man from Greater Atlanta. What an absolute badass. Blake R says Horace eventually became a major piece of the team off the bench by the time he left. Hopefully Stretch can be the same. Yes, Horace was crucial. Crucial. Like he was kind of like a part-time Dennis Rodman. I mean, by the end of his career, right? He was a hustle guy. He was a guy who would bleed for the team. I can remember 2 times that he was actually bleeding. One of them in the head, and diving for balls, blocking shots, getting rebounds, taunting people in a friendly way. Gentle disparagement. Chip says, I get nervous when Stretch is anywhere but the bench. Bryce G jumps in. What's up, Bryce? It's been a minute, bro. Love having you on the show, particularly when you look at this. Super chat's in. Hey, JG, just wanted to chime in on Jay Lee's chances against Maddie Penna. No chance he fouls one off if she gave him 3 at-bats. Add Shelby Lowe and KK Dismukes to that as well. Those 3 are nasty. Okay, so the long story short, those of you who don't listen to the rundown, for some reason, Jeffrey, the aged former outfielder, who's now, 20 years past his prime, physically, if not more, thinks that he's going to dig in against Maddie Penta, who is Auburn's ace softball pitcher, throws 71, accurately, and he thinks he's going to go up there. And I think his word is he's going to rake off of her. It wasn't just going to make contact. It was like, I'm going to swat the balls against the wall or over the wall. And I'm pretty confident he would strike out. And we've already been down this road. Dana Sullivan, who was the sports editor for the Auburn Auburn News, a few years ago challenged me. She was a very good softball player when she was younger, and all she had to do was bunt. And she said she could get bunts down, and Michaela made her look silly. She didn't do anything. So I don't have any reason to think Jeffrey's going to go up there he's going to actually hack at these balls. He's going to be miserably late. I mean, seriously, if she throws 71, but she's throwing at a much shorter distance, so it's going to be essentially like hitting a 90 to 95 mile an hour fastball. He ain't touching that. I'm sorry. Maybe if he was 20, okay, yeah, but he ain't 20. So, Bryce, appreciate you, bro. You and I are totally in agreement on this. and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is, really, but Maddie Penna in particular would absolutely embarrass him. Speaking of softball, they've been hot, huh? Got a couple wins yesterday. They've eased into the top 25. We're going to get a little bit better gauge on how good that team is next weekend when they play Alabama. They're playing Southeastern Louisiana today, a team that I would expect them to beat pretty good. And Mickey's making some progress. He's got a lot of pitchers. You talk about Maddie Penna is a freshman right-hander. He's got a freshman left-hander named Shelby Lowe. He's got KK Dismukes has been pitching well. She was here last year. Lexi has been like she normally is. She throws hard all the time. Sometimes she's accurate, sometimes she's not. But when she's accurate, she's tough. And then Sam Yarbrough is kind of like the ace last year. She's still trying to get into a groove. A little disappointing, but the fact that he's got 5 pitchers is that's going to help them a lot. Anyway, I know this is not a softball show. This is a basketball show. You want to – how about this? Oh, Corey Dub speaking. I would argue Chris Moore showed more offensive potential his freshman season than Flanny did last season. Interesting. Can we expect a similar sophomore jump? Yeah, I don't know, man. Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of that at all. This is one number. This is ancillary to your point there, though, bro. This, I believe, is going to be Al Flanagan's. Yeah, so these are the final numbers for Al for this season. You can see his freshman year is the bottom row there, and then his current season is the top row. And, I mean, we've talked about this all year, so this is not going to be news to those of you who watch the show a lot. But Look at the improvement, man. 3-point percentage goes up what? Almost 20 points. 2-point percentage goes up 3 points, but it was already pretty good. I mean, to shoot .565 is great at a high volume like that. His free throw shooting is up 32 points. That's pretty good. I would say that's pretty big. His free throw rate goes way up. He's one of the national leaders. I mean, he's 158th, which he's not at the top, but he's doing a good job getting to the free throw line. His free throw shooting was a lot better. What'd you see? 80%, 81%, I guess, technically in SEC games, which ranks him 13th in the league. If you had told me coming into the season that Al Flanigan would have been ranked anywhere in free throw shooting, I'd have been like, what? That guy's terrible. He worked all year, all off season, and he will continue to work this off season. I'm telling you, Flanigan has been disappointing at times. I understand that. He gets frustrated, particularly when he was having to be point guard. It didn't work for him mentally. But the improvement that he showed from year one to year two, it's unbelievable, man. And most of the people in the bunker are smart enough to know that he deserves a lot of credit because he's an absolute beast and he put in a lot of work and it yielded results. I just think sometimes people put the Superman cape on him and try to judge him as like, oh, he's Bryce. And hold on, man. Bryce needed some time before he became the superstar that he eventually did become. He was a sulking mess, Bryce Brown was, for his first 2 seasons at Auburn. And he was still sulking the first half of his junior year until he got absolutely annihilated at practice one day by BP. I'm not even going to repeat what he said. And it snapped for him. Be Easy says Flanny deserves more credit from going to an offensive liability, which he was last year. He's just a disaster, to a solid player. I think he's a good player, but other people say he's not. Mike G says, smash the like button, biashes. We need more likes. 15 likes is way too low. I guarantee you if I say that right now, I'm going to get a thumbs down. But that's just the nature of the beast. Cam says Flanigan is better when he's not trying to be Sharif, but himself playing inside out. First of all, you're right. Second of all, he doesn't want to be Sharif. He's not trying to be Sharif. That's not the problem. The only reason he was trying to do that was when Sharif wasn't there, and he had to do that stuff. He doesn't want to be a point guard. It doesn't work for him. He just doesn't have that attacking mechanism in his head to think like that. Jamal does. I don't think Jamal likes playing the position, but he has that. He can adjust his mental approach to the game to be a good point guard. And listen, man, he's the reason that Auburn beat Tennessee the way that they did. Jamal was. And I think he played a big role in why they were able to do what they did tonight. I mean, 36, 38 minutes today as point guard, the whole time. And he's been able to maintain his level of production, too. He had 14 points today, 7 assists, 2 turnovers, which is great. I mean, dude, Doc Robinson had a lot of games like that. 14.7 assists, 2 turnovers in 38 minutes. I mean, that's Quantez Robertson numbers. It's Doc Robinson numbers. I mean, Doc had some great games, and don't get me wrong. But that's great, man. And then you leave Al Flanigan to do what he does. Just remember, man, this is a very imperfect team. And BP, ever since JP went down, honestly, they're just trying to get this thing home with one headlight, man. I mean, seriously. You just don't have what you need. Auburn never had the really good three-point shooting. And I just don't think you can be a great team without that three-point shooting. It's just not there. Let me go ahead and pull this Ken Pom four-factor stuff. We could talk about this stuff for a while, whether it's legit or not. I mean, the Ken Pom stuff, some people put more into it than others. I don't think Ken Pom's the be-all, end-all, but I love some of the statistical analysis. Let me blow this up so we can see a little bit better. This is Auburn's basically their report card on Ken Pom. If you ignore this area up at the top where it's talking about adjusted efficiency, adjusted tempo, that green and red has to do with pace, not necessarily how good you are. But if you're looking at the 4 factors, these are the 4 elements of the game that Ken Pom thinks are most important to produce wins. Effective field goal percentage is Auburn's 119. That's pretty good. Turnover percentage, really, really bad. I'm talking about the numbers in the left column there. That's Auburn on offense. As we know, Auburn is very turnover prone. Today, not as much, and I think that's a big reason why they were right in that game. But normally, Auburn turns the ball over way too much. Probably, what do they average? 18 turnovers a game, which is about 8 too many. Very, very leaky on that. Offensive rebounding is really good. We know that. They've got length. They've got size. They have guys that know how to rebound on the offensive end, and they had some good ones today as well. I remember Jalen had a really good one. JT had a few good ones. And then free throws attempted versus field goals attempted, which means you're getting to the line, you're drawing contact. On the offensive side, turnovers are really just the biggest limiting factor. On the defensive side, it's defensive rebounding. It's interesting. Auburn's a great offensive rebounding team, not a good defensive rebounding team. You're like, why? Because it's about attitude. It's about positioning on defense. When you're in a zone, understanding that you got to find a body to block out. Same kind of concept on the man side, although it's more of a one-on-one deal. And they just didn't really create as many turnovers as you think they would. And Sharif, I know he only played 12 games this year, but I always found him so confounding because he's so quick. He's one of the quickest players I've ever seen at Auburn on the ball, but he's not a quick defender. And you would think that he would get some stuff knocked out, balls deflected and whatnot. Auburn was just never very good at that. You can see the miscellaneous components. Auburn was not a good three-point shooting team, 32.6% this year. Again, you're missing JP. JP was shooting 44% when he went down. And every reason to believe he would finish at 40% or higher. But the problem is that there's nobody else, I mean, Chris Moore is probably the next best statistical shooter, but I don't know how actually good he is. He only shot 15 threes. So next year, you got JP back, and you're going to have Trey Alexander, who's a good three-point shooter as well. And maybe you're going to find a way to transition Jamal into a spot where he can shoot 36, 37, 38% maybe. And all of a sudden, you've probably got enough there. And Jabari, I think, is going to surprise you. He's going to take some threes. He's got some of that ability. Two-point shooting, Auburn was really good this year. I talked about this maybe a month or two ago on the bunker, just acknowledging this is before that became a known trend. But Auburn's two-point shooting was really good from start to finish, and they finished in the top 100 in that category. They're good at getting to the hole. But you look on the other end, a block. They get blocked a lot on the offensive end, which is really weird because they're actually tall. But think about a lot of the blocks we saw this year. Like Dylan, Stretch, Chris Moore does this too. They get a rebound, and then they go down. Sometimes they even bounce the ball, but they almost always go down. And then as they're coming back up, the ball gets slapped away from them. How many times have we seen that this year? 100? And those are blocks. It's just silly turnovers and shit like that. So, in the end, Auburn was really good at offensive rebounding, really good at blocking shots. They had 6 more today. And other than that, just kind of ho-hum. But there is one KenPom stat that you can't see on that screen that I need to make sure you see. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot it right now. This is the number that matters to me the most. Experience. 0.78 years on average, which ranks 346. And I believe to this point this year, there have been 347 teams that have played. They are the lowest by far among all the Power 5 teams in terms of experience. You can see the average is 1.74, and they're, a year behind everybody on that. So, we talk about them being young, but they're off the chart young. Like they're just obscenely young. Let's see. War Report says whoever hit dislike will have an uncontrollable diarrhea at an inopportune time. I think that's fair. I always tell people that I hope they get I'm not going to say it on the show. It's not very nice. Let's see what else we got going on here while I was doing all that stuff. Let's see. Blake R was talking with Mike G. Horace from 3 talking about Stretch being better than Horace. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm with you, Horace, I think. And I've been a big Stretch defender, but I'm still skeptical. For sure. Michael P. likes softball a little bit. Corey Dub is pushing for more likes. 78 Swilly says, hey, Jay, when they make herb legal, capital H, capital L. Can we roll up on stream? That's a deep question there, Jay Swilly. If herb was legal, I mean, I think I would probably smoke a blunt or two if it was legal, right? Wouldn't? Yeah, I would. But it's definitely not legal where I live. So that's that. I tell you what, when it gets legal, holler at me and we'll talk about this, all right? Because maybe I have you over here as like a special guest and we'll do what we got to do. Blake R wants to know if Corey's gotten his cars washed yet. Corey says he's almost done. Taking breaks in between on the Bluetooth. Bluetooth. Canoe Man says, I came to get down. I bet you that's a reference to, what's the name of that group? Jump around. Jump up, and get down. I can't remember the name of that team. I'm sorry, the name of that group. They it's one hit wonder. The Irish. House of Pain. That's what it is. Look at House of Pain over here. Stephen L says he used to hope that people would step on a Lego. The people that, people that you're mad at, but you're not like super mad at. You're just kind of mad at. You just kind of hope they step on a Lego. Maybe they get a UTI that like burns like a volcano for like a day or two. Not to do any damage, just a real bother, something like that. Be Easy thinks this team was doomed from the start, particularly with Sharif being out to begin with and JP going down. I would think that like when my career wraps up, whenever that is, years from now, I'm going to look back on the JP injury and think that's the weirdest thing I ever saw. I mean, it's the strangest injury that I've ever been associated with. That I've ever seen. Now, I don't know as though I've ever seen, but that I've actually known about. Like at an Auburn kid or a Kentucky kid when I was covering Kentucky. I do remember there was this kid, I don't remember his name now, when I was covering AUM basketball back in the early 2000s. I would kind of I would help out a little bit because I was working for the newspaper in Montgomery. And this dude, I think his name was Robert Johnson, now that I think about it. He was a really good player for AUM. They're about to go in their NAIA tournament, I should say. And he had like a hairline fracture in one of his shins. And so he was out, and he was probably going to be out a good while. And I was talking to him about it. And he was like, well, I'm actually pretty hopeful I'm going to be able to play in the tournament. I was like, oh, shit, really? What's the plan? And he's like, I've been drinking a lot of milk. And I think that, that upgraded calcium, getting a lot of calcium in my body, I think it's going to be able to fix that bone. I was like, shit, yeah, man. Yeah, man, I hadn't really thought about drinking milk more, but that's a cool idea. He didn't play. But he sure did enjoy drinking that milk. And milk is delicious. Canoe Man says, with no caveats and apropos of nothing, Coop will be back. He has spoken. He has spoken. I wonder what if we should get B-Man on the horn. I think we should. Has baseball started yet? Let's take a look. Let's see what time baseball starts. Auburn plays. Yes, they have started. They're in the fourth inning right now. Auburn is they got crushed yesterday by the Boston College Eagles, and today Auburn is doing the crushing. They are up 8-0. I was tempted to say nil. I'm sorry, guys. The soccer life of me got me. 8-0 in the fourth. So it sounds like things are going pretty well over there. Looks like Mason Barnett is pitching. 3 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Let's see who's been the big producer. Looks like Mr. Hill was the big producer. 1 of 2 with 4. He must have had did he have a granny? Or did he have maybe an RBI walk or something? I don't know. He may have had a granny. He did have a granny. In the bottom of the first. Boy, granny sure does feel good, huh? Your boy had never hit a granny. I wasn't really a home run hitter. I was more of a pitcher. Got a super chat coming through from one of our all-time favorites, War Eagle 0008. Thanks for the drains this season, JGT. No, thank you, buddy. Thank you for being part of our show and being part of the site too, man. Have enjoyed them. Been great with all that's going on with COVID. If Coop is back, our Jamal/JP okay backup? That's a great question too. So Jamal's going to be a backup in that scenario, absolutely, because he's not going to play ahead of Sharif. He's not going to play ahead of. Well, he could, I guess. I don't know about Jamal, but JP is going to have to be your shooter, so he's going to have to play 2. I think he can play 3 in a pinch, but you're still going to have Trey Alexander playing 2 mostly, and then you're going to have Al Flanagan playing 3 mostly. And then you have some portability with the 4 and 5 because JT can play 3-4-5. I think Jabari can play 3-4-5, probably best at 4. But yeah, Jamal's the one where you're kind of wondering. Some people were speculating earlier that he could leave. He can leave right now. He's going to be a graduate and maybe go somewhere and play, where he can play every game all the time. But Jamal is I had a coach tell me, I've told you guys this on the show, but I love telling the story. I had a coach tell me one time that, I need a couple good guys on my team because I can't have 12 dipshits, or 12 assholes, I think is what he actually said. Jamal is like the non-asshole. He's the rational, calm, cerebral, friendly, same guy every day. He's that kind of guy. And he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who, if this team's going to be really good next year, that he's going to be like, I'll go to Fordham and play 40 minutes a game and leave Auburn. I just don't, personality-wise, I don't see it. And I don't know as the Jamal's the guy that's out there okay, my plan is to go first round of the NBA draft. I think he's realistic about it because everything else about Jamal is just very realistic and normal and grounded, and he's just he's the kind of guy I mean, if you have friends like that, you think a lot of them. They aren't crazy, and they're thoughtful. And yeah, Be Easy says Jamal was in my World Lit class. Really cool dude. I mean, Jamal's about as good as you're ever going to get. So I think he stays, and I think he's a 6th, 7th, or 8th guy next year, and he can play a little point. He can play a little shooting guard, maybe a little 3 if you had to. Canoe Man says Jamal seems like that even on the court. He's a calming presence. He does seem that way. You can sense it. You don't ever see him freaking out. I do think he kind of freaks out sometimes, but not in that way. I don't think it's a panicky it's more of a, what's going on? What am I doing? I don't know. And I always found it weird that when he transferred from Memphis to Auburn, it was well, he's going to be our shooter. And it's okay, cool. Well, was he a really good shooter at Memphis? The answer was no, he was not. So he's been better than I thought he would be as this designated shooter, but I still don't think he's awesome at that. I think he's a good dude, and I think he can do a lot of different things fairly well. Might as well. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a perfect guy to have as your, a guy on the bench. He's the equivalent of, a utility infielder who can hit 275 and give you 10 homers if he played full, a whole year. Just a good player, like Tommy LaStella, somebody like that. He's not a superstar, but you love having him on the team. He helps. War Eagle 0008 says JP seems more than serviceable as a backup point guard as well. Now, see, here's the deal on that. Yes, I agree with you that he can do. He's at least serviceable as a point guard, and considering he had never done it before and he was thrust into that role this year, I thought he did a terrific job. But to me, the lesson that I learned this season is that with Al Flanagan. So Al was having a pretty good year. He starts having to be a point guard. His year goes to shit. They adjusted to where Jamal plays point and Al can go back to doing what he does. And he had 2 out of the 3 last games were really good. He struggled against Alabama, but they all did. He played great defensively in the Alabama game. Hell, the team played great defensively. Wes Flanagan and Chad were on that scout, by the way. They did a lot of damage to Alabama defensively. They just couldn't get it going offensively in that game. But anyway, I think it's better if JP just plays shooting guard next year. I mean, if he's going to play a little combo, that's fine. But just putting the full-time administrative responsibilities on him, I don't think is a great idea. So I think they need to get Sharif back, whether one way or another, and then go out and get somebody off the transfer portal this year who's like a 2-year starter from Quinnipiac or fucking hell, wherever, Iona or, FAM or somewhere like that, like a Ronnie Johnson or a Javon McCormick or somebody like that. Let's see. Michael P says, JG, this drain is evidence of your hosting skills with remarkable aplomb. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I work at it. I try. I really do. I try. But you guys have been so supportive, man. I'm sure that first show we did back, that Oregon game, I think was our first show. I bet it was awful. I was like, hey, guys, are you there? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Is this mic on? Hello? But you guys have been very generous, and you have afforded me the ability to have a proper computer to do this show. And we use an application called Ecamm to push this to YouTube, and it works flawlessly. Remember, if you guys, some of you old school guys remember last summer when the show kept quitting, it just shut down for no reason. I was like, I'm an idiot. So I switched to a better platform thanks to your guys' generosity. And here we are. We got a stable platform, and we know what's up. We know what time it is. Let's see. Cam says, man, can you imagine the height of Jabari Smith, JT, JT Thor, Jalen Williams, Dylan Cardwell, 6'11", Dylan Cardwell, Stretch Akingbola will easily be one of the tallest teams in all of college basketball next year. Hell, they are right now. But yeah, you're right. They will be. Let's work our way through the just kind of for shits and giggles through the roster here, and let's just kind of give grades. Well, we'll just start with a couple here, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, this is a tough one because they only played 12 games. But if we're starting, Sharife Cooper, the point guard, number 2 on the roster, the quickest Auburn point guard I've ever seen, one of the quickest point guards, college point guards I've ever seen, whether they went to Auburn or not. 6'1", 180, ends up finishing 83% at the line, which is terrific. 47% from 2, which is terrific. 23% from 3, which is
sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
I don't know how you guys feel about a letter grade for Sharife, man. So the team's definitely better with Sharife out there. They definitely score more. Defensively, he's a liability somehow. I don't know how. I mean, a guy that quick, you'd think at least he'd stay in front of people, but he doesn't really all that effectively. He's not a plus defender by any stretch. So if I was going to give Sharife a grade, I think I'd give him a B. Just because you got defensive liability, you got a huge hole in his game where he can't shoot threes at all. He's one of the worst three-point shooters they've got. I mean, the pluses are obvious: creativity, quickness in the just assuredness in transition in the full court. His passing is on target. Creative passing on target. I mean, he's just truly gifted in those ways. But Cam reminds us that we're talking about how tall that team's going to be next year. Trey Alexander's 6'6". Yes, that's a very tall shooting guard, isn't it? So, yeah. Be easy, AU jokes that maybe another year could help that defense out for Sharife. Right? No, I mean, it could, but I see what you're doing. It's kind of a subtle, like, hey, man, maybe you want to come back. That's probably a low. I mean, giving him a B is probably, I think a lot of people would probably say he deserves better because he was so good right out of the gate. But, and they would point to his points per game and all that kind of shit. But he took a lot of shots, man. I mean, he's the kind of guy that would have 15 points on 4 of 15 shooting, and he'd be 7 of 8 at the line. You know, that's how he made it up. Which is kind of like the way that Chris Denson used to do it, and it was very effective. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think a B is probably the best I can do. And someone reminds us that JP is also 6'6". He is indeed. Al Flanagan. All right, so we know about the improvements. We've already gone through that today. 34% from 3, 57% from 2, an absolutely Mac Daddy 78% from the line after 40-something percent last year. He's great in transition. He's not good at handling the ball, but that's not really supposed to be his role. He's just supposed to handle the ball in transition, and that's that. A good defender, not an awesome defender, but a good one. For me, you take everything into consideration, I give him a B+. I think there's people in the bunker that would really be pissed to hear that, though. They would say, no, he's a C at best. JG, do you not remember all those shitty games he had? But I have a hard time giving him too much demerit when he's playing totally out of position. You know? So I give him a B+. I think he's more valuable than Sharif right now. But Sharif was robbed of a lot of development. You know, if Sharif had played 25 games, I bet he would be a different player. Because he was still kind of evolving as we moved on. It sucks that he got hurt. JP be the next guy I talk about. Played 10 games. I thought he was going to be on track for like freshman All-American. 77% from free throw line. 42% from 2. 44% from 3. He was drawing fouls. His turnovers really weren't too bad. I mean, considering. He had a really bad game against Arkansas, didn't he? Well, kind of high and low. That first game against Arkansas, that first SEC game, 9 assists, 7 turnovers. South Alabama, though, he had 9 assists, 1 turnover. Troy had 8 assists, 1 turnover. So he had it in him. His scoring was really, really falling off there at the end, though. He had 3 points against Troy, 9 against App State, 4 against Arkansas, and 2 against A&M, although he only played 1/2 against A&M. You know, those 26-point games against South Alabama, 26 against Memphis, 15 against Texas Southern, 17 against St. Joe's. It's so hard, man. 10 games. I would give him a B+, though. He got hurt. War Eagle 0008 says, how does Al fit in next year with all the scoring options? I tell you what, I think we had a bunch of questions about that. So let's go over here to this. I have not messed with this lately. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of lay this out. Jay, get out of the way, Jay. I'll put myself right here. All right, so this is assuming that Sharif comes back. Right? Do we lose anybody? Jamal would be the only person here I think we would lose. So I'm not worried about that. Cambridge really wasn't. He wasn't the guy there. Trying to think of what am I missing here? Because Devin had kind of a tough year all the way through. You know? He did. Plus, I think of Devin as a 3 anyway. I guess you would just put Jamal was like the shooting guard with Devin right here. Devin was probably actually well, I'll leave a space here. Devin was both of these. We'll put him here in the middle. How's that? All right. So, let me I don't know if I can add new ones. Makes it kind of hard. Yeah, I don't think I can add these very easily. I was thinking I would just add them here live, but I think I'm going to screw everything up if I do that. This is the way it looks right now. Although Franklin kind of plays here. So, Jalen's the one you got to worry about. Right here in this spot. Here, I'll take Javon out because we don't really worry about him as much. So Jabari would be here. See, the thing is, I think Jalen gets stuck right here. And then I don't want to take anybody else off, though. I still think in the beginning, you would have Trey would play behind Jamal at shooting guard, and then eventually, as soon as Trey kind of picked up, he would slide in front of Jamal and go into this spot right here. So you see a lot of dudes that kind of get shuffled back. Where does Chris Moore go? Where does Devin go? Jamal ends up being kind of a backup combo. Does Justin play shooting guard specifically? He can also play wing. There's a lot of dudes, man. War Eagle 0008 says, do you think Javon Franklin comes back? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know Javon very well at all, so I can't judge that. I just don't know. It looks like a tough situation for him. I don't understand what he's trying to, what he would want to do. I mean, because he would definitely be at least a seventh guy in this team next year, unless he had some crazy offseason where he just blew up, But I don't anticipate that happening. So, yeah, a lot of questions there. A lot of questions. Trey over JP, this is tough. Yeah, see, the thing is, I really don't want to get carried away on Trey yet. Okay, is he a good talent? Absolutely. Let's get him on campus first, and then let's see, okay, can this kid actually play? Because sometimes it takes time. All I ever heard about Bryce Brown was that this kid is a phenomenal three-point shooter, and me and Justin Hokanson saw him in a camp, and we thought he was great too. But it still took him 2 years to acclimate and become that guy, And so I don't want to go down that road again and say, oh, well, Trey's going to come in and he's going to be a 40% shooter from three and he's going to score 15 points a game. And it's like, let's. I know JP can do it. I've seen him do it. I want to see Trey do it first. That's all. Cam says point guard is easily one of the hardest positions to play in college. I would argue it's the hardest. So yeah, and BP knows that. He's going to have to go out there and find him another point guard. He's just got to. That's got to be a number one priority right now. And whether it's a junior college guy or if it's a grad transfer that comes in from Yale or Florida A&M or wherever, somebody. War Eagle 0008 says if JP's healthy, he has to start. I think we're all in agreement, man. JP he's a special shooter. He's a special shooter. He proved it. He's done it. Shot 44% this year. If he had been ready to go and he was going 3 of 6 every night or whatever, 3 of 7, it would have changed the dynamic of this team, and there would have been games they would have won. They would have finished with probably 2 or 3 more wins. You think about that Ole Miss game, they probably would have won that one. The Kentucky game in Rupp, they probably win that one because you think he's probably going to be really engaged. The fact that he's going back home for a program that didn't want him, and they had a really rigorous, spirited late rally in that game that maybe wouldn't have come up short. The LSU game was a mess. There was no saving that one. The Florida game was a mess. There was no saving that one. They beat Tennessee. The Alabama game, I just don't think Auburn's ready for Alabama right now. But Alabama's going to lose a lot of dudes. Herb Jones is going to be gone finally. Petty's going to be gone. I don't think they're a one-hit wonder by any stretch, but they're not going to be like this. So, anywho, JP drives an Impala 008. Word. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds awesome. I'd like to drive a 6'4". Yes, I drive a 6'4" Impala, sir. I was listening to that new track in my 6'4" Impala. Hey, now. Man. Talked a lot of basketball here, haven't we? We do have football coming up. Spring practice starts, I think, in a week now. And then A-Day is going to be in late April. Looking forward to that. The weather is definitely changing here in central Alabama. We've got 70s, and I think we have 80s on the horizon later this week. So it's getting to be football weather. Yeah, Thursday is going to be 81 here. Montgomery, 82 on Friday, 82 on Saturday. So this is getting to be really, really tasty weather. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I imagine we're going to be having some more interviews coming up with Harsin and maybe some of these assistants as we get closer to football season, football practice, I should say. And then as we get into there, once we start the practice period, have a chance to talk to some of the players too. Via Zoom, of course. I hope you guys, we're starting to get those vaccines rolling out. So hopefully by the fall, maybe we can start getting some normalcy as far as the way we cover football and athletics. Like for instance, in my case, I have not done an in-person interview of a student athlete since February of last year. So hoping to break that. It's been tough not being able to do that for you guys. Damn, look at here. Sam H says, any special plans for the show on A-Day? Interesting. Sam, I have not thought that, haven't thought that far down the road yet. But my initial response to that is, that sounds like a hell of an idea. Because they're going to be really tight about who can go in there on A-Day. And if we get 1 seat, I'd like for BMAT to get it. If we get 2 seats, I'd like for Christian to get that. And if we got 3 seats, I'd want Jay Lee to take it. Although there wouldn't be any recruits there, right? We think that's going to start on June 1. But, yeah, I probably will be doing a show on A-Day. I can't imagine now that I just sit there and think about it why I wouldn't, Sam. And I appreciate you asking, brother. And thanks for the super chat. If the people want it, the people get it. I mean, I would hate it if we end up going head-to-head with, like, the War Report if they're doing one or whatever, but we'll figure it out. Be Easy says full stadiums this fall. I like that attitude. I honestly think that I think we're going to be good. I really, really do. I really, really do. Because, not to get political, I'm not getting political, but it sounds like even if you try to take away some of the political blather, that folks who want to get a vaccine will be able to get a vaccine by the end of April. Let's go ahead and just say the middle of May. And that gives you plenty of time to get the shots, to get your immune response all fired up, and that way we can get into September. And, you know, Chip says, how about a full Jordan-Hare Stadium for A-Day? I can guarantee you that won't happen. I don't think that should happen, actually. But as far as the fall, I think that can happen. I'd be very fired up to see it. I'm ready. We're all ready. Still get a lot of questions about football. JG, what do you think about the football season this year? I still, man, we're just so far away. We're so far away. We got to figure out who's who and what's what, and who's going to be here and who's not. And are they going to get some left tackles? That's my question. Are they going to get some left tackles? Is there going to be somebody come in and challenge Bo Nix? Who's going to be that second tailback? Because I don't think it's Shivers. I don't think it's Devin Barrett, and I don't think it's the kid from Philadelphia, Mississippi either. So I still have questions. But you could say, hey, JG, stick to basketball. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Let's see. Canoe Man says the hospitals will not be covered up then. Seems like a no-brainer. I don't know what that means, but I support you. Stefan says Jordan-Hare will be loud as hell that first game. Yes. A lot of cheering. A lot of suppressed cheering that will be let out, right? Blake says the vaccines are becoming more distributed, more widely distributed, of course, so it's only a matter of time before everything is like Texas. Hey, I'm really proud of our state. I think the last 5 weeks we've gone over at least 100,000 shots administered. There's let's call it 4.5 million people in our state, so that means it would take you do the math on that, but we got as high as, I think, 140,000 people shot in 1 week, so shot up, I should say. So there's a good chance, if you think about all the adults in this state, let's say it's 2.5 million, if there's an influx of Johnson & Johnson stuff, we're going to get this thing in really good shape by the time we get to football season. War Eagle looks like he's bouncing, though. Says War Damn Eagle, oh, y'all be good. Peace. Hey, appreciate you coming by. Super chatting. Having some great questions and just being an absolute beast that you are. Appreciate you, brother. Corey asked if we're tailgating for A-Day. I mean, I like the idea. I'll probably be here doing a show, though. I mean, I would think. Because we can watch that on TV, and that'd be fun. It's been a while since we've been able to watch a football game together. And the ones we watched before, they weren't very fun. They're solid. We got a solid chance to beat Mississippi State. Solid? Dude, you should beat Mississippi State. It reminds me of that Chris Rock joke that he would tell on his stand-ups. He's like, these people that sit around and say, I take care of my kid. Dude, you're supposed to take care of your kids. That's a big win over Mississippi State. You're supposed to beat Mississippi State. They're terrible this year. Shut up. I feel like I'm ragging on Gus. I don't mean to. I like Gus. Ravine jumps in. Speaking of badasses, there's one right there. Ravine says, just got off work, missed the entire game. Good to win. Good win to end the season now. Look forward to A-Day. Ravine, you're the man, dude. Appreciate you, bro. What a stud you are. Unbelievable. Corey says we need to do a remote show with the group. There's an interesting idea. A remote show with the group. I can do that. As long as I have a stable Wi-Fi connection and my laptop, we're good to go. That's all it really takes. Bob Loblaw says UCF will be very good at celebrating. Hey now. My guess is he's going to be great at Central Florida. I really do. You know, he's going to beat the dog shit out of like fucking Florida Atlantic and Florida International and solid team. You know, we barely got out of there with a 70-21 win. And as the jokes keep writing themselves in the bunker, where it's like he's going to Central Florida and he's going to be really good in that league. Shit, he's been recruiting at that level for 3 years. It's like boom, got him, woo, got him. Here we go. Good times. Good times. All right, so looking ahead, what do we got here? That's the end of basketball season. That's a wrap. We still got baseball going. Let's check in on the Fighting Butch Thompsons. They were kicking the shit out of Boston College earlier. Let's see if they are continuing to beat the shit out of Boston College. Yes, they are. They're now up 11-0 in the fifth. The Auburn softball team is currently trailing the hated, I guess they're the Lions of Southeastern Louisiana, 2-0 in the second. I think Shelby Lowe, did she get the start today? Let's check this out. Yes, Shelby Lowe got touched up a little bit. 3 hits and 2 innings pitched, 2 earnings, 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Somebody must have gotten lucky. They're playing a doubleheader today. So there you go. Looks like the Fighting Butch Thompsons were pissed off about that game last night. Yowzers. Ravine says about to break into some Willet pot still. Sounds tasty. Bob Blah Blah wants to know percentage chance that Sharif returns. At this point, I say 60. That's my pick. That can change though. Corey Dub says the brain drain live from Tipping Point. People drunk people discussing Auburn football. It's a win-win. Now I have talked about that with Justin. My issue there was their internet connection. This is under previous ownership, was not stable enough to host the show. I mean, I don't need like NASA level, lines here. I don't, but I need consistent, 100 up and I should say 20 up and 100 down to keep it going, which I get fine here at the house. They did not have that available at the Tipping Point, so that's the why we probably would have done a show there by now if they did have that. Now, the new owner may change that, and he may say, hey, it's a priority for me to have good Wi-Fi here or good internet here, at which point we would do a show there. I would love to do a show there. I love the Tipping Point. I love Justin. Love Laura. I love Jared does a great job there. Jay does a great job there. Amber, of course, does a great job there. And, I mean, our friends that are gone, Nick S., we love you. Also, Nick, my archaeologist friend. And then Weird Nick. Yeah, Canoe Man says freaking MGM does not have a fiber option, I swear. I think there's... No, you're right. You're just right. I don't know. AT&T does offer gig internet here. I don't have access to AT&T, so I got to take what I get. But I've been really happy with the internet speed here. I'm fine. It's consistent, and it's fast enough for me, plenty fast for me. I get about 500 download, and I get about 25 upload. But that's plenty for the show, and that's all that matters to me. I kind of wish that we could reformat this room so that I could have guests, similar to the way that the dude that does the podcast in Austin, Texas, with all the conspiracy theorist people. I can't remember his name. He's like he was a stand-up comedian, and now he does the big podcast. And Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan's got a setup where he's got, he has like a table and people can come and hang out. And my thought was, I live in Montgomery. We should have some of the Montgomery folks come on the show and shit, And if you're pissed that you don't live in Montgomery, then that's just your problem. You'd be the first person ever to be pissed that you didn't live in Montgomery. Josh D says, you know how many basketball players Auburn can have on scholarship next year? I mean, officially it's going to be 13 unless the NCAA takes one away. So we'll see. D-Man says we have no more scholarships. I don't think... Well, we'll just have to see how this goes down. Because, I mean, Turbo took off. Oh, look at Eric going back. Notice Barbara hasn't shown her face since the Gonzaga game. Barbara was on here talking during that Gonzaga game. It's just like, what, 2.5 months ago now, Eric? And we haven't seen her since. Although I think she was a Gonzaga fan, as I recall. Ravine says, same story, JJ. I used to have AT&T fiber to the house. It was awesome and super reliable. Now I have Cox and barely get half what I pay for. I have never actually used a fiber line. Like, even, I mean, I don't have it at the house, obviously, but, like, I've never been somewhere that has it. I bet it's badass, though, and I look forward to getting it someday. Corey says, how can AT&T provide fiber to the home in Prattville but not Montgomery? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I feel like I'm in a brand new neighborhood with lots of nice houses, and I feel like we should have it. But we don't, and I will say this. Again, my internet's been good. The problems that we had last summer had nothing to do with my internet speed. It had everything to do with my computer situation and my my platform. Canoeman says, speaking of Turbo, who is wearing 0 next season, I bet you they don't have a 0 next year. Do you want to know my opinion? I would never wear 0. I think it's a terrible number. Malcolm Canada thought it was great, and I love Malcolm Canada, but I think it's a terrible number. I didn't have a chance to talk to Turbo about it. He's going down to South Alabama. Since my daughter's a Jag, I feel like he's, if you're going from one place to another. Canoeman says the fiber is amazing. Have it here and Chattanooga. Chattanooga, man. Whew. Chattanooga has trolled the absolute shit out of those people with their internet connections, haven't they? I was reading about that a couple months ago. That Chattanooga just basically took it upon itself to create its own, like, internet structure for all of its citizens. And now they've done such a good job, and everybody's got such clean and fast internet there in Chattanooga that, like, the cable providers are pissed, and they're trying to sue the city for, like, restraint of trade or whatever. That's funny as hell, man. Ravine says your computer situation is a great situation now, JJ. Yes, thank you to you and to others who donated to the show. We were able to get a really nice computer that is super stable, and then we changed the program that we use to put it out. I use a program called Ecamm. I guess the kids call that an app now, and it's super, super stable. What's really cool about this particular platform is it's not a big one, and two brothers named Ken and Glenn who live up in Boston basically built it themselves in their garage, so to speak, and they made this company based on this app that they developed themselves. And what's cool about them is, like, all the stuff that I think we need to have that needs to be improved or things we need to add to it. Like, they'll get on, like, a conference call with subscribers like me and others, and they'll just answer questions. They'll be like, oh, shit, that's a great idea. And then, like, I've only been using this program for like 6 or 7 months, but I have already seen 3 or 4 things that were discussed on the Zoom calls actually added to the app. And the first one was the cameras. When I first got this, the camera size up here where you see me, that was not negotiable. I couldn't change the size of that, really. I couldn't place it. And now I can. This is little stuff that you guys don't care about, but Corey W. says, Chattanooga's power company supplies fiber to the home. It's beautiful. Absolutely just crushes the cable companies, though, doesn't it? Because it's terrible. Stefan says he's representing the Noog. Says our internet is amazing, though. Auburn alumni, my main man, says hit the off-season conditioning program, i.e. the JT Thor program. Keep Sharif, add 2 more studs, and let's get it next year. You make it sound so easy, bro. It really is that easy, though. Chip says original AU girl was looking for a fight in Chattanooga this morning. I wonder if anybody took her up. I don't know if I'd want to fight her, though. She seems, she's a friendly person, but I feel like if provoked, she would be particularly nasty. She would play dirty. She'd play dirty. They low down. They dirty. They some snitches. I haven't been to Chattanooga lately, but my experiences there have been very good. They put so much effort into revitalizing their downtown area. It's unbelievable. And they also have that awesome wings place that I love. Bart. What is that place called? They have one in Noonan, too. Taco Mac. Taco Mac. I like Taco Mac. I bet some of you guys over there in that way in Georgia are like, I don't like Taco Mac. I love it, man. I mean, it's not as good as Voodoo, but you can't get Voodoo everywhere. Canoe Man says, why would anyone not get EPB in Chattanooga? I laugh at all the ads from Comcast that come into the office. So funny how dirty those cable companies were trying to get Canoe Man to try to fight and stop the public utilities people there. This is on you guys. You know, I'll just be like, no. You guys have a monopoly in like the top 110 markets in the country, but this one right here, you don't get. Sorry. You dropped the ball. Shit happens. Go make your billions somewhere else. Get out. I'm going to Huntsville, though. I think we're going to Huntsville this coming week. There has been some talk about another Huntsville gathering. I would love to see it. I had a great time last time. Canoe Man says everything's great at Taco Mac except for the service. It's an important part of the process. But I do enjoy Taco Mac. For whatever reason, I know this just seems like kind of a minor thing, but their ranch sauce that they have for dipping, I swear to you they make it themselves because I never found it anywhere else. So good, man. I love it. Stoop Up. I didn't realize you were up there, Stoop Up. Says he's in North Georgia. I didn't know that. Eric Olson says T-Mac has gone way downhill. That sucks. I hate to hear that, man. So you're telling me it's
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
That's what you're telling me, huh? That, by the way, I was talking to Corey about that yesterday. That's a soccer coach, Gennaro Gattuso, who is currently the coach at Napoli. And he is he's a former player. He was a very dirty player, and he's a very dirty person. I don't mean that like he's just very rough, very, very rough and straightforward. I would appreciate that about him, but I think some of the young people don't. And as you can tell, he's not shy about expressing himself in press conferences. It's like we're our friends here that are familiar with Chattanooga are getting numbered up here, getting acquainted with each other. I like that. Sure wish I could eat Taco Mac more often. Stoop Up, reminiscing of the old days, got smashed in a Taco Mac in Chattanooga the night before my wedding. Good times. The night before your wedding. I feel like that's a bad idea. Canoe Man, I wish you hadn't brought up specific numbers because now you're making my eyes water. $60-ish per month for $300 and $10 more. So we're talking about $70 a month for gig upload and download.
I want to wrestle you so freaking bad.
God, I wish I had that. Wish I had that available. I got absolutely trashed, but it was 2 nights before my wedding. I went to some country bar in Louisville and got absolutely bombed. Corey loves Gennaro Gattuso. I think it's incredibly hilarious.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
He's talking about his team. He brings it, man. He brings it. If I was a Napoli player, I don't know if I'd love it, but it's funny to me. He also says a word, I don't know if it's like Italian, because he's Italian. He's in the Italian league, but he's trying to, he like, when he does press conferences, he'll talk some in English and some in Italian, and I think some in Spanish too. And he always says the word Malakia. He goes, it's Malakia, 100% Malakia. I don't know if that means it's shitty or whatever. I don't know. Chip says that's stealing for a gig up and a gig down. I tend to agree. I would pay that easy. Stefan says he got kicked out of the Sing It or Wing It across the street. I don't even know what that is, but I love the name of that. All right, this is yeah. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to be in Huntsville Thursday night. We have been trying to put something together up there. Some of our Huntsville consulates, some members of our Huntsville consulate, which would include Easterwood, Dob the Bomb, of course the esteemed and always appreciated D Lucky is up that way as well. R.M. Schuler, who's an absolute badass, and his awesome wife and his awesome baby. I don't know if they're all going to be drinking, but we'd love to have them hanging out. There's like 3 or 4 more other dudes, and I forgot their names, but they were cool too. The whole Huntsville group, the Envoy, was great. So I'm hoping to meet up with some of you guys again on Thursday night. That would be awesome. Hopefully the weather would be great like it was last time. It was insane. We actually ate outside, and it was beautiful. And then a week from Friday, we're going to be doing another rundown. You know, we do the Tuesday rundowns. We're going to be doing a Friday night rundown live at the Voodoo Wing Company in Mobile. And J-Head is going to be my special guest on that show. And we're also going to be hosting some bunkers who live down that way. I don't think Chip's going to be able to make it, even though he's one of my favorite Mobilians. I think he's got to work that night, which is very sad. But we'll get up with Chip again at some point in the future. But I think Locked On, hopefully we'll be able to get Locked On in there. And my man DJ HK, may know him from the bunker. He's a badass. So hopefully we can get a lot of good Mobile bunks in there as well. So we got plenty of things going on tap here coming up. And again, if you guys think that the Diamond Drain or whatever, a Diamond Rundown on Sundays or Mondays would be good to kind of refresh what we did on baseball-wise, softball-wise, we'll be doing that. Chip says he will not be a special guest. This really makes me sad. We have to give it a TPI or horn on that one. Sure would love to have you, though, Chip. Man, you've been such a great dude. Going all the way back to the Habotten days. You're the official music director of the Habotten. Let's see, Corey wants to know Blake's in the IT field. Here we go. We're getting networked up. That's what I like to see. I have a suspicion that Corey is in the IT field. Sources indicate that Corey is aware. He's understanding of the IT field. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. I do want to give a shout out, of course, to Bruce, I reckon, BP for his 600th win as a college head coach. I feel like I was missing one of his stops. I did mention SIE, and I did mention let's see. The people in Indiana or Evansville still love that guy. I mean, like, seriously, they're like still sad that he left, and it was like forever ago. Southern Indiana in Evansville, he was there from 92 to 01. Little piece of trivia there. I was a member of Pi Kappa Alpha, the Pikes. I was the president of my fraternity at Transy, and then I went to the National Pike President Convention in Memphis one year, I guess 93. And one of the dudes I hung out with there was from the Southern Indiana chapter, and he was like, "We've got this basketball coach, and he's a fucking badass." And I was like, who cares? I ended up covering the guy like 25 years later. Southern Indiana, Milwaukee, UW Milwaukee, Tennessee. He only spent 6 years at Tennessee. That's crazy. And he's been at Auburn since 2014. It's 600th win today. Huge. Damn, he did a hell of a job at Southern Indiana. 231 and 46 over 9 years. Good golly. He's a bad man. What a beast. 600 career wins, though. That's awesome. Let's see. Corey says every day is a good drain day after everyone hits the gym, though. See, Corey loves making sure everybody's staying healthy and happy. You know, you can't have a happy life without a happy body, you know? Says the guy who's lost 35, and Corey, of course, is fit, as he always is. Stu Pup says his uncle is a professor at Southern Indiana in Evansville, Indiana, and they love Bruce. Shoot, I mean, he left, what did we say, like 20 years ago. They still love him. It's crazy. Chip says he hopes that BP's win number 666 will hopefully be the second consecutive NCAA championship. I think that math works out right. I think it does. We're going to run that by the math department. We'll see how that goes. We're putting Allie in charge of that. Remember when I used to do that? Allie, our crack research staff. Yeah. All right, so we'll be seeing you guys down the road. Appreciate all of our badass super chatters who number in the thousands today. I'm just kidding. It's not really thousands. Do want to give you guys a shout out though, because we had a bunch. Canoe Man and Pocket Watch before the show even started. You guys are absolute beasts. Corey Dub, my main man, enjoyed hanging out with you last night, and Mrs. Corey Dub, enjoy that. I think I drank a few. J Dub, of course, you're probably gone now, but you're the man, dude. Stu Pup, keeping the streak alive. Our man in Northern Georgia, I just found out. Blake R, an absolute stud who can pull off that outfit like nobody else. The War Rapport, you know I love those guys. Mike G's the man. Bryce G, appreciate you, bro. War Eagle 0008, who's gone now, but we still love him. Sam H, and Ravine as well. Man, that sounds like a damn all-star team there. Bob Loblaw says, is this Bruce's worst record ever? Great question. I don't think it is, but let's take a look. I just had this up, too. I know his worst record would have been 15-16. He went 11-20, 5-13 in the league. Although nobody faulted him, that team was dog shit back then. He had nothing. He went 15-20 the first year, 11-20 the second year, and then he got going. 18-14, 26-8, 30-10, 25-6 last year. God, I forgot how good they were last year. And then 13-14 this year. They're going to be better than 13-14 next year. I promise you that. I don't know if I buy the national championship talk until I see how some of these dudes play and how they play together, but they're going to be better. There's no doubt about that. Look at Corey. He says, don't let Jay fool you guys. He looked fantastic last night. I appreciate you, bro. I did notice your wife was shocked when McCourtney was like, he used to be 317 pounds, and she was like, him? He was? I'm not anywhere close to that. Stoop Up says that 11-20 was rough. Yeah, yikes, man. That was rough. Absolutely. That was really bad. Of course, some of those Barbie teams were really, really bad, too. That 15-16 team finished on a really, really rough. They beat Alabama on January 19th, and they lost, 14 of the next 16? Something like that. Tyler Harris was your leading guy. I like Tyler, but damn. Tyler, Simeon Bowers, Kareem Canny. Your number one lineup was T.J. Jennings at point. God, jeez, my God. T.J. Jennings at point. Bryce at 2. This is before Bryce knew what the hell he was doing. Don Granger, Horace Spencer, and Tyler Harris. That was your number one lineup there. Over the season, that was your number one lineup in the last 5 games. Over the season, it was T.J. Bryce, T.J. Lang, Simeon Bowers at power forward, and then Tyler Harris at center. I mean, those are some good dudes to hang out with, but I don't know if that's a good team together. I mean, Kareem, as talented as he is or as he was, man, he was tough to kind of get along with. My goodness. And Simeon was his own thing. Although he was easy to get along with. He was just very intimidating. And I don't know if I've met a lot of guys that actually have been shot. He had been shot more than once. He really was. I'm not joking. He showed me. Corey Dubs says, question of the day, how many wins would Samir have been worth this season? Oh, man. Miss Samir a lot. That was such a weird thing for me as a sports writer because I felt like I had to really eat some words on that one. Remember I used to tell you guys how good he was? You know, when he was on the scout team in 18, and he would just tear shit up when it would be like – it was almost like BP would punish the starters by unleashing Samir on them in scout games. And he would embarrass them invariably. And I was always like, man, Samir's going to be awesome. So the 2019 season comes along, and he's basically dog shit for the first half of the year. And I'm like, and at some point in February, I had to actually sit down at the bunker and say, okay, guys, I was wrong. My bad. I missed on Samir. And then he went off in the championship run, right? He was playing great. Others were too. Javon was playing crazy. Chuma was playing crazy. And then last year, he was really good. He was really good. 77% at the line, 49% from 2, 34% from 3. That was not really his game. He's more of a driver and stop and pop guy. But man, he was good. So if he plays this year, Corey, I mean, I think it's worth probably 3 wins at minimum. You know, and I think if he's playing, that means that you don't ever have Al playing off position because you can just play Samir as a combo point. There's no problem there. And that would soothe a lot of problems. It might have been 4 wins. I don't know. Because he would have been a helpful defender on the ball. Instead of Al being on the ball a lot, you could play Samir on the ball more, get a little bit more out of Al. Yeah, I think they probably would have won 18 games, something like that. So 4 or 5 games. Canoe Man says, excuse me, guys, got that COVID cough. To be fair, everyone that watched practices redshirt year said the same thing. Little piece of trivia. I don't know if you guys know this, but he played for the infamous Will Wade at VCU and loved him. Thought a lot of him. Now, the question I was asking on the bunker the other day, how in the world is Will Wade still coaching? I don't know. And, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist guy, but the way that LSU was able to hide all this Les Miles shit, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I've read as much as I could possibly read about it. I'm not 100% sure that he was doing some really dirty stuff. I don't think he was, but he was just making some young girls around that program feel uncomfortable with some of the stuff he was doing and suggesting. I don't think he actually did anything bad. I think he was just maybe talking game or whatever. I don't know how to put it, but that was all suppressed. And then this Will Wade shit, I don't know how he's still coaching. And you kind of have to wonder a little bit if Mark Emmert, who's the NCAA president, and he used to be LSU's president, is there some kind of a deal there? Normally I would just dismiss that, but at some point all this stuff keeps going on at LSU, and I'm just like, and Will Wade, man, I don't really have an opinion on him because the couple times I've talked to him, he has been cool to me, so I'm not going to trash him. But that dude has a potty mouth, and I have a potty mouth myself, but even he's like, damn. Like back when in the before times when I could go to games and I would shoot from the sideline to get some art for you guys, I would sit by the opposing bench, which is where I would shoot from the baseline, and I could hear pretty much everything the coaches were saying, and that guy had a potty mouth. He called his team every name in the book. He's very hard in that way. It's like Rodney Garner. You just can't. I think there's certain dudes that just can't deal with it. I don't think Samir was that guy, but I think some people don't. Stu Pup makes a good point, though. If Cooper was there all year this year, if he was at Auburn this year, he thinks they would have gone 18-9, maybe 19-8, which the problem is that he doesn't help you enough on defense, I don't think. So I think Samir would have been more valuable overall, even though I think that Sharif's an outstanding player. But either way, had he been here the whole year, yeah, it would have helped a lot. I mean, you think about the best team they played this year was probably Baylor, right? And they played them pretty close. I mean, Baylor was going to win that game, but Auburn was in it. And had Sharif been here the whole year going into that game instead of having played like 3 games going into that game, or 5 games, 3, 4, or 5, maybe he would have been better. I don't know. Ravine says he's making a food run. Y'all need anything? Yeah. We're going to take some bourbon, bro, if you got some. Unless it's bad, in which case we don't need it then. Just kidding, man. Oh, yeah. Blake's talking about some Darius Geist stuff getting covered up. I haven't read about that. I'm sure Mark Emmert will be like, hey, guys, bygones be bygones. It was years ago. It's out of my hands. By the way, how are things going on the Cam Newton investigation? Because I really want some answers. Canoe Man says Samir is West Philadelphia born and raised. Absolutely very proud of that. He is. And he can handle the potty mouth. Yeah, he didn't leave Will Wade because of the potty mouth. He likes Will Wade. So you got to wonder. I mean, maybe I guess Samir didn't get a big-ass offer, did he? Who is getting the big-ass offers? We know who that is, but we don't know who's not getting a big-ass offer. Stu Pup thinks the floor of this team was 13-14. Thinking that Auburn was, at the bottom of its, just because of the injuries and whatnot. Sam says Samir would have been our true shooter. I think he's miscast as that, honestly, though, bro, because, his senior year, he shot 33.5% from 3. I love Samir, but I mean, that's not a sharpshooter. Now, the championship season, he did shoot 43.6% from 3, which is insane. And that was sneaky good, although he really picked it up the second half of that season. He was not awesome the first half of the season. But he sure got hot as hell, man. Looks like a Tennessee game. He dropped to 27. He dropped to 22 on Tennessee in the season finale. He dropped a 14. No, I didn't. I said season finale. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about last year. My bad. Championship season. Let's see when he dropped some big numbers. He dropped 23 in that Virginia game. 18 on North Carolina, 10 on Kansas, 13 on New Mexico State. You know, we don't talk about that New Mexico State game enough. That shit was 50-50 at best, and they got out of that. Think about all the great stuff that happened after that, and it wouldn't have happened if they hadn't gotten out of that New Mexico State game. It was close. Close. He had 16 in the SEC Championship final against the hated Tennessee Volunteers, 17 against Florida in the semis, 19 against South Carolina in the, the quarters. And, yeah, but early in the season, he really wasn't doing that much. But he blew up in the tournament, just like Javon did. Smear's a badass. Very underrated. Hey, buddy. My pug's in the house. You want to say hello? Come here. Yeah. Come here. Pug, come here. You little bitch. Hey, come here, bro. Oh, look at that pug. What's going on, bro? Say hello to all the peoples. Say, what's up, people? What's up? What do you think about the super chatters? Oh, you love them? Oh, me too. All right. Corey says Chuma was the best player on that team. Oh, I don't think anyone's arguing that now. Come on. Chuma's a badass. He was so good. Stoop Up thinks the Darius Guy stuff is bad. I need to read about that. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. I appreciate you guys being part of the show today. Obviously, we've given the role of the Super Chatters, but there's so much more to the show than Super Chatters, although we love you guys. Chip, so glad to have you here, bro. Wish I could have caught you in Mobile. Yeah. All right, guys, wrap it up there. I will run into you guys somewhere soon. We'll be doing the rundown, of course, Tuesday, and in Huntsville on Thursday night, and all kinds of other stuff going on. You have anything you want to say, administrative assistant? No comment from her. Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. We'll check you next time. Until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Behave yourselves. Let's make great decisions tonight and stay hydrated if you're drinking. Peace.